Everybody, my name is Tony. Welcome to the first episode of Claims Guru. I don't know why I named it that, but um, my name's Tony. I am a claims adjuster, investigator, and I work in property damage and liability. And I work for what's known as a non-standard insurance carrier. So my responsibilities are pretty huge, and I work in a very stressful, high-volume environment. The reason why I started this channel is because I want to help you understand how insurance companies work. Most people have insurance, but they don't understand what their policy entails, what coverages they have, what happens when a loss occurs. And so I kind of want to straighten that out. Also, getting a job within the insurance industry and becoming an investigator. Because my job, I work for what's called non-standard. I'll get into all this in future episodes. But my job entails not only, investigating the claim. I take recorded statements. I have to evaluate whether or not a claim is payable, not payable, if there's any red flags meaning fraud. So I guess I'm going to start with what this channel is going to cover. Now, basically understanding your policy. I wrote everything out on my iPad. Understanding your policy, how to understand your coverages and how they apply. Because you got different coverages. You have comprehensive, you have liability only, then you have comprehensive collision deductible waiver, uninsured motorist property damage, things of that nature, and it goes on medical payments. Different states. I'm in California. You have PIP, MedPay. PIP doesn't apply in the state of California. I'll get into all this. So it's my first episode, so bear with me. I'll be explaining the coverages. Why do people hate insurance companies? I mean, that's a common one, man. And the types of losses, word versus word, injury claims, all of that, standard versus non-standard, like a preferred carrier like Geico, State Farm, Farmers, versus, Infinity and other companies that are non-standard. Those coverages are different. The rules are a little bit different, but everything's governed by the Department of Insurance. Agents, brokers, how they come into the situation when it comes to purchasing a policy, and red flags, statements, different types of losses. It could be a straight up rear end accident. It could be a parked unoccupied loss, meaning that the vehicle was parked and they call in a claim and say, well, my vehicle was sitting in a parking lot and it was hit, when in actual fact it could have been moving and they could have hit a pole. They just don't want to be charged with an accident, so they say, well, my vehicle was just sitting there and I was hit by another vehicle. Things, again, of that nature. And understanding personality types when you're interviewing somebody. So in my case, how did I start off as a claims adjuster investigator? I guess especially with the tattoos and all that. Of course, I don't dress like this in the office, but it is a Saturday night, so I'm just dressed casually. However, getting into the industry was not something that most people, I think, try to do. They don't go through college and think that they want to become a claims adjuster or an investigator. Some people do. They want to be an investigator. They want to become a police officer. SIU, Special Investigations, claims, police, National Insurance Crime Bureau, investigator. All those things run real parallel as far as with what a claims adjuster does. There are many different types of adjusters. You've got property damage. You've got fleet, major corporate claims. In my case, I am a straight up auto adjuster. And how I got my start, what my background is I was in the music industry for many, many years, and I was successful at it. But it got to a point about 11 years ago when I didn't want to do it anymore. And it wasn't because I wasn't making any money. I wasn't the struggling musician. I was very successful to a certain extent. And I also taught. I was a music teacher, so I did a lot of teaching and music business seminars and things like that. One of my students worked at the insurance company, and I had talked to him and I said, basically, I was looking to find something normal. I needed, one thing that you don't have in the music industry is you don't have a 401k plan. You don't have health benefits. I mean, obviously, unless you're paying for that out of your own pocket. And, I was still young enough that I didn't really have any of that. So it took about a year of convincing who is now the main big boss at the company I work for to give me a shot. And he gave me a job after realizing that from being in the music business that I wasn't just some kind of dumbass guitar player, and that I was, I had some intelligence or whatever. And he gave me a job as a temp in the underwriting department of the insurance company that I work for now. Now, that was my first job in the insurance industry. I had left that company for 5 years and worked in other areas, and now I'm back at the same company. So I'll explain that real quick. I started as a temp in the underwriting department. Basically, he sat me next to two senior underwriters, which was great because I initially started just placing vehicles with policies. I didn't know anything about insurance. I knew nothing about insurance, just like maybe some of you watching this. All I knew is I just had to have it on my car when I drove it, but I didn't know about coverages or anything. So he gave me that opportunity. After a few months, I became a full-time employee, and then I got promoted as an underwriter. So I worked in the underwriting department as an underwriter for a year. And how underwriting works is basically we specifically sell policies via a broker. So you couldn't call us direct and buy a policy. You have to contact a broker that would sell the insurance policy. Then what they do is they give them a quote on the insurance, then they send us the quote. We have to match that with what's called FSC, and make sure we have to run their MVR, make sure that the broker isn't shady and sending us, something that they have a clean driving record, but they have a DUI, things of that nature. So I became an underwriter, did that for a year. I ended up, after a year, getting promoted into the claims department as a subrogation adjuster. Subrogation is now when for instance, someone gets into an accident and it's, say, the other person's fault, and they have insurance or they don't have insurance, then they refer it to subrogation to basically collect the money that we paid out, saying the other person's at fault, so they owe us a certain amount of money, including our insured's deductible. We either go after the insurance company sending via a subrogation demand, which would be payable, and then we reimburse the deductible to the insured, or if they don't have insurance, we just go after them directly, which sometimes works out, sometimes doesn't. I can go more into that as we go. So I became a subrogation adjuster. I was an adjuster as subrogation for about 3 years. I left the company I was at, went back into the music industry for a very short period of time. Then I ended up working for a law firm as another subrogation employee. Left that company, then I went to work for a medical subrogation company, which strictly deals in medical. So our big clients were like Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Health Net, Kaiser Permanente. So when someone gets injured and they go to a doctor and the health plan pays out on it, then it goes to the subrogation firm to find out if they were involved in an accident. Again, this is going in depth, but I can get more into it the more that we go. I eventually went back to the insurance company I'm at now and was hired as a PD adjuster investigator. So the whole purpose of this is to help you understand how claims work, again, how your policy works, and I put it into this one big scenario as to how insurance companies in general work. And I'm hoping you'll get something out of this. investigating is could be a very lucrative job, and at the same time, it's a career, and it's granted it could be a very high stressful career, but it depends also on the company you work for and things of that nature as well. So basically, I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'll be shooting more videos as we go as to how everything works. But again, I wanted to give you a little bit of a background of who I am and why this channel exists. So I'm hoping that I can help you understand, and also on the front end and back end of claims, and how everything gets resolved. And so on that note, I'm going to let you go, and I appreciate you watching my first episode. So peace, appreciate it. All right, take care.